What's up, everybody? Oh my god, I was running late. I just ran into here, sat down, put this shirt on. It looks like I don't even have a shirt on, at least from my point of view. Doesn't look like I have a shirt on. It matches the Swarm King. I don't know why. I didn't know they had a Bruce colored shirt, but I do have a shirt on. Does it look like that from you guys? Anyway, how you doing, Roddy Middleton? What's up, Tim? How you doing? I hope everybody can hear me. Let me turn my notifications off. Um, uh, I realized in my last live, you know how I'm always trying to think of stuff to talk about, and then I forgot all about talking about dead bees. Everybody's having some dead bees. Maybe not Rodney, but uh, this year I have a significant number of dead colonies. So I would turn the volume all the way up. Hold on. Is my volume okay? Let me pull this thing in closer. Hold on. Let me back it up. I don't know. I'll give a couple minutes for a couple people to come in. I know sometimes I get notifications like 5 minutes late. Um, Not me yet. Man, I already forgot what I asked. I already forgot what I asked. What that was a question to. Oh, someone stole two of Rodney Middleton's traps already. Damn. Back that. It looks like I don't have a shirt on. Maybe that'll be cool. Back it up towards me or back it away from me. Okay. So let's for the people on the playback who get really they have a very short attention span, if at all. Let's talk about the dead colonies I have. Um, let's see. My first year here, which is 4 years ago, was not a high surviving year. I only had, I think, 10 colonies, and I think three made it. But that was no big deal because I wasn't used to this area, and I was used to keeping bees in the city where I never fed ever, and my bees were always just piled with honey. I never had to feed. So I thought I could do that here. I brought I think I had five or six, brought them here, caught a couple swarms. So I had 10 or 12 going into winter. Didn't feed anybody, and they all starved, except for three, I think it was. So then the next year, I caught a couple more swarms, did a few splits, got up to 25 colonies, and I fed those. And that year, they all lived, every single one. And then the next year after that, I had a few more. I had like 75 fed, did all the stuff I normally do. Kept most of them small, and I had 45 survive. Which, if you're buying bees, that probably wouldn't sound like a good number. You'd be kind of mad at losing 30. But I didn't pay for any of my bees, so I wasn't worried about it. Went on 100 and something swarm calls last season. Got all piled up with bees, trying to get rid of as many as I could, but still ended up with, damn near 120, almost 80 here at the yard at my house. So now, I mean, if you're doing the math, I don't know what the percentages are. They're really not important for my style of beekeeping. But this year, I don't really know yet what the how many I have that are alive now. Today it was too cold, but tomorrow it's supposed to be 53 and just full blazing sun all day. So then I'll be able to get out there and really see who's actually still alive and who's not. And then there's the 52 mite count colony that I was pulling for. and it would have been awesome to see if they made it, if they did make it, but they did not make it. So that's not a big surprise. Even even at the time that I made the video where they were doing the mite count, where the inspector was counting the mites, I said, "Nah, we're just gonna let them go. They're probably not gonna make it." And I was shocked that they even made it all the way up until the last warm spell. But I did crack them open, and they really look like they're dead. Um, it's just definitely not a shocker. Um, for the ones that are dead or alive, the only difference is I knew that one's might count. The rest of them I don't know, so they could have died with more or less. I really don't know. Um, and then, so then there's the things I want. Some of the mistakes I made. I definitely made a ton of mistakes, like I do every year. I make a bunch of promises to myself and plans what I'm going to do, and then sometimes I do I do some of them, but a lot of times I slack on it. And I definitely did not go through with my plan, which was to get everybody down to one deep box, um, or just one deep box and a medium super. I have too many that were too big because out of all the dead colonies, the ones that I have in nukes or single boxes are doing the best as usual. And even if you look at the 52 mite count colony, I've had a colony in that exact spot all 4 years that I've been here, and this is the first time any bees have died in that spot. The past 3 years, I overwintered them with two medium boxes. That's it, all three times. This time they have five mediums. So to me, that's uh, way too much surface to have things go wrong. Way too much supers to get cold and rob all their heat. And they can't really patrol it to keep from getting robbed either. But I don't think that was an issue this year. I didn't have much robbing. Um, oh my good, what's up? How you doing, Nick? My buddy from Texas, watching my little beekeeping live stream. Let me see. So the number one thing that I have to do better, I have to definitely get my colonies more condensed down before winter time. It's just I can't be lazy about that. The other thing is I did have out of the few that I checked that were dead, I had some that were completely bone dry, not even a single cell of honey in there, which was kind of shocking to me since I was putting baby pools and baby pools of syrup out there. But I didn't do it early enough. I definitely should have done that early enough, and I should have broke down and used some frame feeders. I hate using frame feeders; they're a pain in the ass. But I should have done that on a few of them to make sure they really could work it overnight and all day and in the morning and on rainy days. And I didn't do that, so I screwed up those colonies. Let me see. I just put a sticky board on one of my dead outs to prove I'm a dumbass. Just uploaded a short about it. um, well, I don't know how you pull. Okay, so you pulled out a sticky board. Probably had a bunch of mites on it, so you think you're a dumbass. But that doesn't really. I mean, you might be a dumbass, but it doesn't have anything to do with that. I mean, your bees just aren't capable of dealing with mites. So if you're saying the smart thing would have been to do would be to have treated them, well, then that's your thing. I mean, that's a treating thing. If it's dumb not to treat, then I'm a dumbass. But I dare somebody to come on here and tell me that. So yeah, survival rates and percentages and stuff like that. It doesn't. It's not really important to me. I'm. I have enough bees that I could I have enough to fill all my nuke orders. I have enough to fill plenty of my equipment. Um, yeah. So then, what else was I saying? I'll be able to fill my nuke. Plus, I'll be catching some swarms. Um, and then the feeding, the getting the bees down to the right size for winter. And also, I kept way too many bees here. I shouldn't have had 80 something. I think when the inspector was here, I had 81. And then I did a couple removals. I brought that tree trunk home. I brought home that barrel full of bees. Had a couple random removals. So I don't really know how many I had, but it's more than I've ever had here. And with the discovery of that yard down the road with I don't know how many colonies they had, this area just probably couldn't handle that many bees. Um, so I definitely do not want to keep that many bees again this upcoming season. I'm going to try to stick to 40. And by 40, I mean maybe 30 here and then 10 at my little out yards. Or maybe I'll just have 40 here. But I sure am not going to have 70, 80 again. It got to where it was a lot of work. I couldn't really get into them all and keep them the best that I could. Um, use frame feeders on nukes only. You use frame feeders on nukes only. Um, yeah, usually, I mean, I guess you could use them however you want to. I knew some were light when I was feeding, and they weren't really packing it in the way I wanted them to, and I should have broke down and gave it to them because I don't like losing bees to starvation. I don't care about losing bees to mites because I don't. My intention isn't to keep bees alive that can't survive with mites. Um, so it's really not depressing or anything. I mean, I'm not worried about it. I just think I could have done the other things a little better, reducing them down, feeding them a little earlier, not having twice as many as I should have. It's not about treating. I mean, if you've been following me more than 30 seconds, you know that I don't do that. I'll never do that. I never have done it. Um, and then, yeah, those are the main mistakes that I made. Oh, the other thing is, I broke my rule that I had for 3 years here, which was not to be bringing a ton of bees in from everywhere, like all my swarm removals. But I had so many, I just ran out of places to put them. I couldn't get rid of them fast enough. I couldn't requeen them fast enough. So a lot of the bees that did die here were probably, well, I know that they were a lot of the random bees that I caught, probably from colonies that are just they depend on treatment. So um, yeah, if I was somebody in the bee business, in the honey production business, had to meet a bunch of quotas, it's a different story. I'm not doing that. Um, but yeah, I do this for fun, and every year I'm gonna learn something. And one of these years I'm gonna do everything right and see what happens. Have I had any hives that survived from day one? I'm not sure what you mean. Um, you got to be more specific with that. I mean, I've had queens that have lived 4 years. I still have one of them out there that if that colony comes through to spring, that queen will be from 4 years ago, and her mother was 4 years old. So I have some pretty old, some genetics that are from queens that have lived several years. Because I don't have any reason to be requeening every year and doing all that commercial stuff. I'm totally a hobbyist. Um, so I'm not sure what you mean from day one. The hive, the colony. Um, I still have bees from my first year here. I don't have the bees that I had in the city because I had to start all over there. In the winter time, what was that, 5, 6 years ago? 5 years ago, I went to my yard in in the city, and there was a bunch of uh, insect spray cans around my hives, and all the lids were taken off, and they didn't live. And that was in wintertime. How long is the longest a hive has survived? Yeah, I don't know what you mean, because every single time they swarm or get split, it's a different genetics. It's a different line of genetics. So if you're talking about the same queen in the same hive, the question just doesn't, when you think about it, doesn't make sense for me. I'm I'm trying to figure it out. Oh, sometimes people mean like in a tree, how long will that colony survive? Hives are different because you're constantly moving them or splitting them or moving stuff around. So maybe if you want to think of it that way, um, for me, I know colonies that I found 6 years ago that have never gone queenless and have died yet. So this spring, if they're still alive when I go to check them, they'll be in their 6th year or seventh. But usually, I think the question you're asking is more like how long have bees been alive inside of one specific cavity. But I'm always moving bees around. I'm always manipulating stuff, um, and just moving them. So it's kind of like it's just a tough question to really nail down. If you mean a queen, if you mean how long can a queen survive, I've had them 4 years a few times. If you mean a cavity, yeah, I don't know, because in a tree the bees they'll eventually just not requeen. I mean, how many times can they get lucky in a row? I don't know what that streak is, but eventually they won't get requeen. They'll die. Wax moths will eat out the whole cavity, and then there'll be bees right back in it. Probably the next spring. So that cavity could have bees in it for 300-400 years, as long as that tree keeps standing up. Hopefully that kind of answers it. That question comes up a lot. They always ask that. It's just hard to answer because, especially in the treatment free beekeeping Facebook group, people always ask, everybody tell me what's the longest hive you've had survive. And the answers are funny because the answers don't make sense unless you're just talking about a hive in one spot that never moves and they never swarmed or, yeah. So I don't want to beat that to a dead horse or beat a dead horse with that one. How you doing, Gail? Gail Southern Living. What's up, Lyndon? Lyndon Cashetta Bees. Shango, what's up? Uh, Someone contacted me the other day about a house that had multiple colonies in it for their. Okay, yeah. So they contacted Lyndon about a house that had multiple colonies in it for 30 years. And that's just like the one that I got maybe 2 years ago. My Boyertown barn bees. They told me the bees have been in there for 26 years. Well, no, first I said, how long have the bees been there? And they said, ever since we moved in. And I said, well, how long ago did you move in? They said, oh, 26 years ago. I said, oh, goodness. And I said, and they've been in there every year? And they said, yeah, they've been there every year since we've been here. And of course, I don't believe it, but I think bees probably lived there, then they died, then they lived there a couple more years, then they died. So, yeah, in the house that you're looking at, there's probably been bees occupying the same cavities over and over again for 30 years. It's totally, totally likely. Because if there's no one there to patch it up, there's nothing stopping bees from using it over and over again. If if someone told me it's the same colony there for 30 years, I mean, I would try to nicely uh, change the subject. um, but but yeah, there's nothing. They're probably good, fine bees. Yeah, get them out of there. Have fun. It's gonna be awesome. Hopefully, it's not a really hard removal. for me, you gotta know when. I mean, if you're good at taking houses apart and taking stuff apart and putting it back together, then go for it. You can make some good money doing that. Plus, you get a bunch of honey, and you get the bees. There's like no losing. It's just all gain. But for me, if it involves more than popping a board off or two, I'm calling somebody else. I don't have time for that. Did I say oh goodness for real? I say oh goodness a lot when I just can't take something in or my brain goes nuts. I don't think there's any real reason to correct them on that. Come on, Adrian. What are you talking about? Oh, yeah. About how long the bees have been in a specific cavity. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to sit there and fight with a homeowner that's not a beekeeper. Um, yeah, you just say, oh, cool. And those bees they were good bees. They were out in the middle of the freaking wilderness in a really, really old house. And I still have those bees. They're still alive. Um, I have several daughters of them. I sold a whole ton of their splits, and they swarm all the time. So I like those bees, and they're really dark. Um, figure out pricing. Well, pricing for removal, I if it's something that I have to charge for, I hate when I have to do something that I have to charge for because that means it's probably hard work. But I try to go a little high in the hopes that they're either going to say flat out no, and then I can just hang up, or it's going to be worth it because I don't like driving an hour and a half, getting on a ladder, getting stung to death, making a mess, having to come back, and they want to give you like $50 or something. But I don't know. I don't do too many like that. Too many difficult removals. I'm not a carpenter. Um, so yeah, that was basically what I wanted to get on here. Does anybody? Let me see. From what I remember, most people in here, I know their situation. I know Adrian's doing just fine with her bees. I know that Rodney's doing fine with his. I know that Chad wasn't doing too good with his. Um, but I'm telling you, I can't wait till these swarm calls start coming in. Let's see. Yeah, how long is a need to know? And no one really needs to know. Fact is, they were there. That's hard to read for me. Oh, man. Yeah, how long is a need to know? And no one really needs to. Yeah, I mean, it's not going to change anything. You're going to get them bees out there. Cutouts are worrisome. You might need insurance or contractor licensing. Yeah, I get that a lot. Here in Pennsylvania, as far as I know, you need a license if you're going to use pesticides or stuff like that. I don't know of any law that says you really require anything to pop a board off and remove some bees alive. And even if you did, I don't call the cops on myself. I've had people call me and say, are you licensed and insured?" And I'm like, "No, no, I'm not." And so they say, "Okay, well, you know anyone who else who is?" I said, "No, I don't." And it's up to you. I don't really. You can go find somebody. Um, when do the swarms start where I live? The earliest I ever got a swarm here was April 5th. That was in 2016. And then that's the only date I remember, really. I remember 2016. I remember that swarm call. It was up by the college, by Albright College, coming out of a tree on an azalea bush. And I remember the date was April 5th. But ever since then, it's usually about the 20th or sometime right around April 20th here. And then last year, I think, was a little weird because I didn't get my first swarm till I think May 2nd. And then all of a sudden, I was getting 8 swarm calls a day for, I think it was 4 or 5 days in a row. I got 8 swarm calls, and I got every single one of them. That was just a total. I was exhausted. I was I was hearing buzzing all day, even when I wasn't around bees. When I was sleeping, I was hearing buzzing. And then after all that, then right around June 15th or so, it just stops. Like no more swarm calls come in, except for maybe one every 2 weeks or so. And then after that, it's all yellow jackets. Um, but mm, yeah, well, yeah. I had a call last year. Man, it was so annoying because they sent me a picture, and it was bees that made a colony in between a window and the board because the window was boarded in. It was boarded over. So you could see right through the glass. The whole entire thing was right there. And it was perfectly shaped and easy. All I had to do was either open the window or pop the board off from the outside. Either way would have been just so easy. And they were like, and it wasn't that far away. And they said, well, we need to know that you're licensed and whatever. I said, well, I'm not. And this is a very easy job. So I don't know what the big concern is. I've done this hundreds of times, and this looks like one of the easiest ever. They didn't want me to do it. So I said, okay. So yeah, that was annoying. But hey, that's a free country. Waiting for my bee dreams to start up again. Seems like I always start dreaming of bees. Yeah, I'm always having dreams about bees. Pretty nuts. And by the way, that person contacted me through my website. Really man like they made one already. That's exactly it. It's that website. I'm telling you, like I was saying in my last live stream, just every few days or so, whenever something bee related pops into your head, jump onto your website. I don't remember if you use WordPress or not. I don't think you did, but just add a little bit more text, like type about something. Been stung in your dreams. Yeah. I don't know if I got stung in my dream. I get stung enough in real life. Okay. So you did add some more stuff to your website. That's good. Um yeah, I don't have too much else. I thought people would want to talk about maybe their wintering uh screw ups like I did. Oh, another thing I screwed up a bunch on. I Adrian told me to write all these things down. And of course I didn't. But I noticed that it made me so mad too. A lot more than I wished of my colonies. I did not have a top entrance on them. Once I put the foam on, I didn't cut a hole for them. And even some of my styrofoam nukes just didn't have a top entrance. And as you know, we got well over 2 feet of snow, totally buried them almost all the way up to the top. And normally that wouldn't be a problem because they could still breathe. Air still passes through the snow. And if they had a top entrance, they could just go in and out of the top on a warm day. But what happened was the mouse guards that I had on all my boxes, even though they were half-inch mesh, plenty of room for bees to get in and out, they still got clogged. Like they got clogged with the bees, and then they got wet. So It was like a dead bee pinata just blocking these screens, like tight. There was no way that on a warm up the bees could even get through that. So once I pulled the mouse guards off and dug them out, they probably were dead already. They had no way out, and they couldn't breathe. The water from the snow just made the dead bees into like a brick. So that was a big screw up. So because of that, I want to make sure that before next winter, I get everybody up at least a foot up off the ground. Because all my ones that are a foot and above are perfectly fine. The ones that I had on the ground or just on like boards, they're not that good. My dream was that one of my colonies was in one of those hanging top bars like they do in Africa. So the wind was whipping them around and they were just not pleased. I think the kid came off. The what came off? The kid came off and they boiled out of there and got me. I had bets on last year, but no. Yeah, I'm dying for swarm season. I really gotta check. I didn't see if anybody put any videos up with the Swarm Boss 2021 on it. Maybe not. Still too early. Um, oh man, let me hide that. So I should be able. I mean, probably just with what I have left, I should be able to have my 40 that I want to keep and just basically sell everything else. Anything, every swarm that I get, every cutout that I do, I'll probably just get them established into a nuke till it's nice and built and they have everything they need, and then I'll either sell them or place them with people to take care of them till next year. Swarm Boss 2021, that's right. Oh, I got a thumbs down. I can't tell from here. I'm not even looking on there. Yeah, I get a thumbs down on all my videos. I love it though. Are you doing the? Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be fun. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what else what there is to talk about. Oh, you're doing the swarm traps. So yeah, I just mailed somebody 2 pounds of wax to set up their swarm traps today. Well, I mailed it today. They'll be uh, setting up their swarm traps with my wax. Well, it's theirs now. They bought it, but I'm gonna still do swarm traps for fun, like I always do. I have way too many of those flower pots, so I'm just gonna stick them everywhere. Swarmstead. I've been called Swarmstead Smith 3 times. Once by Whiskey and Sunshine, right there. Once by Tim, and then today I think was it today or last night by Robertson's Belly Acres. What's her name? There's Rusty, and then the lady's name is what the heck's the lady's name? I don't remember everybody's name, but they call me Swarmstead Smith. I didn't know I got married to Dan and got his last name. Yeah, yeah, you'll catch something. You got to make a website. Yeah, I definitely want to make a little video showing my couple of places I'm scouting out. Not scouting out. I'm putting swarm traps there, but just show you the kind of places that I like to put them. I mean, I'll put them anywhere. I don't like to be picky. When you see, I don't know if you saw the one short, not short video, but it's not very long. where I was getting those bees in the city on the light post a few weeks ago. I put that up. I mean, it would be cool to have swarm traps in the city, but I know they wouldn't last there very long. Somebody would throw a 40 at it or something, break it. You're retired. Everybody says that. Yeah, because we hang out on the YouTubes, on the YouTubes. All right. Well, this stream here didn't really get a ton of interest except from the best people. I got myself a thumbs down already. But all right. I don't want to drag it out too long. Just wanted to talk a little bit about that. Hey, I don't avoid talking about dead colonies. I have always had colonies die. This year, the number is significantly higher than usual, but that's how selection is. Uh, I always say that, and I always say this, and it might even be my own saying, but no matter how many colonies you have, if even one survives, there's no excuse for the other ones. That's the way I feel. If they all die, like if you have a good number of colonies, say 30 or 50 or 100, and they all die, every single one, then there's something's the matter there. Even if you don't treat, like I don't treat. I mean, if you do treat and they all die, well, that's even crazier. But if they all die, there could be something more to it. But I'm stoked if one lives, and I have more than one. I mean, if one lives, I mean, it seems if one lives, what's the excuse for the other ones, really? You know, especially when you look in my neighbor's yard and you see the one that I have on top of that chicken coop. It's in a dilapidated piece of crap box, a quarter-inch thick with holes all in it, and it's perfectly alive. And my fiber pot swarm trap is perfectly alive. So none of my colonies that are in perfect boxes, insulated, full of honey, they have no excuse for dying except for that they died from mites, which is fine, perfectly fine because I don't I don't keep uh, mite affected bees, not on purpose. And then I know probably in the replay or people that watch, they might say, well, maybe even something you should do is treat all your bees. I'm never gonna do it. Well, thank you. Yeah. I mean, it's not easy for the Swarm King to talk about mistakes. Now, I have no problem talking about mistakes. I don't avoid it. I'm 100% transparent. Look, it doesn't even look like I have a shirt on. That's how transparent I am right now. Look, the flower pot trap is great. I wish I could send you like 5 of them because I have too many. And then I ordered the wrong size one time. So I got 10. They're not the wrong size. They're still the perfect volume. They're just the wrong shape. So now I have to put them up a certain way. They're still going to work really well. Um, and I don't mind doing the cutouts. I like doing that. And I love how they overwinter in those things. With these bees surviving, that's now 2 out of 2 for fiber pot swarm traps in Pennsylvania. And one of those years it was negative 22 for almost 2 weeks, and they still lived with just a tarp over top of them. So I love flower pot traps. Video call me. Video call you and make you walk out to a tree with me or something so you can make fun. It's tiring. Everybody's out of shape right now. I'm out of shape. I got to get in shape for this meeting, for this meetup. I got to be looking studly. Maybe I want to go running again. I want to start doing 5Ks and 10Ks, but they're always on the weekends, and I always work weekends, so that makes it hard. They never do races during the week, and that sucks. The pots will be hard to cut off. they're not that hard if you depending how you set them up. If you set them up like the way you would sit a trash can in the corner, and you have a board on top, and you set them up that way, they put their comb on the board. It's easy to cut comb off of a board. If you turn them sideways, like you know, horizontal, and depending on how they build that comb, if they go straight down, that's also easy. But when they go sideways, so that every comb is a circle, that's a pain in the ass. And that's what my swarm trap here is. They went sideways on it. So yeah, that's a pain, but you can avoid all that just by standing them up. So you just stand them up and you're good. Same thing with the if you use a bucket. If you use a 5-gallon bucket. Get swole for the meetup. Actually, no. I mean, I like to lose a little bit of belly blubber. That's about it. I'm already kind of stocky. And my job is like very, very hard. It's very hard. I can never explain how hard it is. I got to make a video of me working or the job. It's really, really hard. I can't run anymore. My knees all buggered. Yep, knees. I have my right knee just recently started clicking every time I bend. It sounds like popcorn every time I bend down. That sucks. You saw the one on its side. Yeah, I think I used that as a thumbnail on one of my live streams. Um, yeah, that one. Those bees didn't live because I screwed up. That was the one year that I left them in the swarm trap. But what I did was I wrapped it up. I wrapped all kinds of shit around it, and then I put it into a box, and then I wrapped stuff around the box. I went nuts on it, and then in the spring when I went to check on them, there was just like a big sopping wet mess in there. That was a big time mistake. So that was I forgot about that one. And plus, they didn't have any honey in there. I think that was a new swarm that moved in. All right, see you, Adrian. Take care. Hope you're well wherever you're going. Getting old, yeah, I'm getting there. Rebel Canners, how you doing? Adrian's taking off. She's leaving on us. Plus, I'm meaning to wrap this up soon anyway. I was just having a little bee talk about a bunch of things that I screwed up getting my bees set up for winter time. I was talking about that. I was also talking about why it doesn't really bother me, and then I was talking about how I'm gonna fill all those boxes back up. Now everybody's coming in. Hi Betty Jean Heinzone, how you doing? You guys you guys missed kind of a little bee talk. Um, I got to come up with better times to do these. But all right, everyone, thanks for coming in. Um, take care, and I'll see you next time.